Hey everybody, this is Charles Dobbins back for another weekly episode of the Multifamily Investing Academy's podcast. I'm Charles Dobbins, your host, founder of the Multifamily Investing Academy and the Multifamily OS system for building a multifamily real estate business. And today I have with me Andy. Andy, you got to help me pronounce your last name.
Yeah, it's Gurczak.
Gurczak, and it's Polish. And as I will say to you, Andy, moja droga, ja cię kocham.
There you go. That's Bobby Vinton, isn't it?
Yeah. No, you said Bobby Vinton. It's Bobby Vinton. See, this guy's legitimate, folks. He really is from the old homeland. My gosh, yeah, that's the only Polish I know. My best friend growing up, his father was from Lvov, and
Okay.
And so he came over and yeah, I'd hear Bobby Vinton playing all the time. That's how we knew Polish. So that is the extent of my Polish. You've heard it, and we're done with the Polish talk. But no, but that's really cool. You emigrated from Poland in '99. How old were you then?
9 years old. I think 9 years old.
Wow. Okay. So let me see. Where was Poland in its transition from communism to whatever we call it?
We were 10 years ahead because communism got ended in '89 when I was actually the year I was born, and then 99. So 10 years later was when we came.
Okay, I heard that the Polish women are absolutely beautiful, and why would you leave? Why would you leave? You're a good-looking guy. Why would you leave? Come on. Jeez.
I think so. I think so. Poland's a really nice country. I mean, it's beautiful. It's safe. It's a good country.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, and I actually like what they're doing with Ukraine right now with sending the tanks. Screw Germany. Let's just
They've been first to help. I mean, we've taken the most refugees. They've done a lot, so it's good.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right, okay, guys. You think that the topic that we're going to talk about public adjusting is boring? I'm going to show you how it is not. Okay. So why don't you explain to everybody what a public adjuster does, and then I'll put faces to the names, so to speak. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a public adjuster is a legal representative in the state that they're licensed in to represent the insured with their own claim. And that public adjuster can then help you negotiate your claim, settle everything, help you with loss of rent, contents inventory, the structure. They can handle commercial losses, residential, from roofing claims to fire claims. And the main goal is for a public adjuster to make sure that our clients get paid fairly and maximize their claim settlement, and that the claim gets paid in a timely manner.
Folks, if you are putting in an insurance claim and you have not hired a public adjuster, you are a fool, period. I'll tell you right now, every claim I've ever put on for any of my properties, I always had a public adjuster. I remember when the very first claim I ever had, somebody came along and said, hey, you should hire an adjuster for that. I'm like, why? The insurance company's just going to give me a check and we'll just get it taken care of. And the guy's, no, hire a public adjuster. So Andy, this is what happened. I had a big property.
Yeah.
Somebody put their shoes in the broiler drawer in the oven and turned it on. The kitchen goes up in flames. Okay, so we lose that kitchen. And the contractor came in, said $18,000. The insurance company came in and they said $15,000. And I thought to myself, I'm gonna get screwed on $3,000. Andy, I went and hired a public adjuster. Do you know what check I got from the insurance company when they were done?
Over 40,000.
$55,000. Do you know how much it cost me to fix that place?
15 grand, 10 grand. Yeah, I know. I tell everyone, but they don't listen.
You're right. You get it. But the thing is, you're entitled to that money. It's their contract.
Exactly.
All you're doing, you see, I'm speaking to the people in the audience. You don't know how that contract works. You don't know what you're entitled to by law, by contract, out of that thing. And the insurance company's not going to help you understand it any better. They're just going to cut the check and walk away. But if you're entitled to all of those other services, the public adjuster acts on your behalf. They're like your lawyer against the insurance company and gets you what you need. Andy, I had an ice dam in my personal residence. And, I called the public adjuster. He's now become a friend of mine. I call the public adjuster and he says, all right, yeah, we'll be right down. $35,000 insurance claim I got back for what ended up costing me a can of paint.
Yeah. A lot of people get scared, like, well, this money, how come you're so much more? How come you're getting so much more than the insurance company? Well, you're owed that money. Just because they're not paying it doesn't mean they don't owe you. Exactly. They owe you. And what you spend on it doesn't. Now, how we explain it to clients is, if your car was stolen, the insurance company owes you for that car. Now, whether you replace it or not, they still owe you because you had a policy in place for if something happens to that car. Same thing with property. They owe you for the damage. Whether you replace it or you replace it with lesser, it doesn't. They owe you for what was there to make you whole. So
yeah, no, that's exactly it. When I ended up getting the $55,000, there was no insurance fraud involved. It was the insurance adjuster and the insurance company that came up with that number of 55,000. They said, based upon my policy limits, this guy was owed 55,000. Well, what about the 15 that they originally offered me? Well, they were hoping that I'd agree to it. And so along came my adjuster. Now, here's the thing, Annie, and this is what everybody needs to understand is they initially offer me 15. I end up getting 55. If you were my adjuster, Annie, what would I owe you to do that?
10%. 10% is our flat.
Of which number? The 55, the net between the more money you got for me, or what?
Yeah. So in your case, it depends. If we started from the beginning, it's 10% of the whole claim. But let's say you called us and say, hey, I got 15. This is what they're giving me. For example, and I look over the claim, we could get you 20, 30 more thousand. And we might charge 15, 20% on the new money with not touching whatever you receive. It just depends on the client and kind of the case that we're working. So every case is a little bit different. And
if you don't get me any more money, we just shake hands and part friends, right?
Hey, I hate that. If I didn't get you money, then they're like, something happened.
Yeah.
We have bigger problems.
Yep. And but that's exactly it. So it doesn't cost me anything.
No. There's no retainer like attorneys. They're not taking any money up front. Everything's contingent. Yep. So like the PA has to deliver. The better PAs, look, that's why we review claims before we take them, because we want to make sure we bring value to our clients. Right. So we're going to charge whatever fee it is. We want to make sure we bring you every penny and get you so much that even after paying us, you're like, man, I can get 10 contractors to do this job and I still got money left over.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing is that most of the best public adjusters used to work in the claims departments for insurance companies. They were on the enemy's side, and now they're on the side of the good. So, like, what was your background in Andy?
Of course. So I actually spent time working as an independent adjuster during Hurricane Harvey, seeing that side, seeing how literally you get paid no matter what you write. So if I go to your home and say, there's no damage or it's minimal, I still get paid the same fee. Yeah. So I can do 4 jobs a day saying there's no damage, get paid a fee. I don't care. The insurance is going to pay me. I'm gone. I'm back to my state.
Right.
That's literally who they're hiring. Now, I was in restoration and construction since I was a little kid. So I've always been in construction and I know a house or a property or commercial property. So when I'm speaking with adjusters and insurance companies, they could be adjusters for 10, 15 years. But do they actually know building material? Do they know what it takes to build or put something back?
Right.
Because there's a program we all use called Xactimate. Now there's a new one called Symbility, but they're just tool and guidelines. You have to have common sense and think, well, this door, to remove and replace this door is $100. But then you have to look, well, do I have to take the floor out, or do I have to do any other extra work that this program doesn't take into account? So all that stuff, goes into when we pulled our estimates together. There's so much more in depth and so much information. Whereas you see an insurance company, and like you said, 15 grand, quick and easy pace. They'll sketch a room, they'll put a couple of line items, and they're done.
Yeah,
and then they're out. Now the difference is, yes, either most PAs have been in construction or some kind of, or the insurance side, and now they're just kind of combining their knowledge and going up against the insurance company. So.
Now, let me ask you, give me a couple of case studies. Tell me, and especially if you have any multifamilies, that'd be very helpful. But show me like how you've helped some of your clients.
Okay. A multifamily one was, we had a large fire, 16 units. insured was had a $500,000 policy or 550. He received a check for 300,000, and he had an actual cash value policy, meaning he would not be getting the depreciation even if he did the repairs. So when we got hired, we called the adjuster and said, well, you know, you're at 500,000 or 550 is your estimate. That's the policy. Like, it looks like you just stopped writing. Because when we wrote our estimate, we were at 850,000 or above. So what we did is once we got to that number, even after depreciation, we got our client that extra 200 something thousand plus loss of rents plus demolition expenses. So he walked out with like $350,000, $400,000 more on that property.
Exactly.
And he demoed the place, sold the lot. I mean,
Took the check and took the check.
We got a nice big gift from him, so all good.
Exactly. We love public adjusters.
So,
That's like, when I was, early on in my career in the multifamily business, okay. So, have you ever heard this joke, Andy? 3 multifamily owners are in a bar. First guy says, oh, I had a really good year this year. He says, why? What happened? He says, oh, I lost one of my units to a fire. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good year. Second guy says, oh, I had a really good year. I lost one of my buildings to fire. Oh, wow. Yeah. You had a good year. And the third guy says, oh, I got you all beat. I had a tornado came in and took down all of my buildings. And the other 2 guys look at him and say, who'd you get to do that?
Yeah.
You can use that one. That's a multifamily owner's joke. Okay.
I've never heard that one. That's really good.
Yeah. You get that one's right up your alley. You know what, folks? I've told
as
that
soon as
joke.
we're done, I'm gonna write that down, by the way. I will.
I said, I used to tell that joke all the time when I was speaking in the big rooms. And I gotta tell you, Andy, nobody has laughed harder at that joke than you.
Well, I totally understand. I had to think about it for a second.
Exactly.
So some people might not actually get up to think about it.
Exactly. You got it right away. Hey, let me ask you this. And this is I always wonder this myself. You know how a lawyer tells their client, don't sign anything?
Yes.
All right. How does it work on your business? The insurance company shows up, they offer you $15,000. Don't sign anything, don't accept it. What's the process? Can I go back if I made the mistake of accepting it and signing it? Can I go back and modify my claim? Or how does that work?
Yeah. So the old kind of the theory was that if you sign the check, you're accepting an offer.
Right.
Unless that check actually says that that's a final offer or it's a acceptance, whatever. If it says anything on that page that comes with a check, then I wouldn't sign it. But usually that first check they sent you is just an actual cash value check of what they determine the damage is at that point. Okay. So you're not really doing anything. What I wouldn't sign if I was your client is any contracts with vendors, board up companies and mitigation companies until you actually know what they're charging. Don't sign any contracts with anyone, because all they're doing is working for the insurance companies and everyone wants to take all your money. Okay. That $55,000 you got on your property, a vendor would take all that.
Yeah. But don't you, as a service to your client, don't you do some of those third-party vendors services for them? Like you bring in other people? Like I remember one time when I had a flood, my insurance adjuster was the guy who brought in the big fans to dry everything out. How does that work?
No, he brought your insurance adjuster or your public adjuster?
Public adjuster. I only deal with the public adjusters. I don't deal with the insurance companies.
Smart. Yeah. So no, we actually do. So we'll tell the insured, here's a contractor, here's a couple of vendors. What we're trying to tell them is stay away from the insurance company vendors, the ones that the insurance company sends out, because those guys are only working for the insurance company. And their job is to mitigate the loss, and the insurance company controls them. Because if they don't do what the insurance company is telling them to do, they're not going to be on their preferred vendor list. So yes, you're going to need contractors, of course, and vendors and people to do the work, but you want to stay away from using the insurance preferred vendors, as they call it.
Yeah. Because they're like lined up. They're practically on payroll for the insurance companies.
Correct. And if you again, there's a need for them, right? Because if you're a homeowner with 3 kids and you have water damage, you have some fire, you just want to get in. So you want to get them in, do all the work. You don't care about anything. Like you just want to be back in your house because your kids have school, different case scenario. But if you're an investor and or a business owner, you have your own contractors, you have the time, you have everything in your policy that pays you for the time that your tenants are out, or if you're losing business income. Take your time. Have the PA settle the loss. Don't get those. There's no reason for those vendors. They're just going to take everything, and then they do shady work. So yeah, I would. There's time to use them, but in this case, multifamily and business owners, again, don't sign anything with no vendors or anyone else.
Okay, hold on. I just had another thought. All right. So what about, first off, you mentioned the hurricanes, and I actually had a client, he and his wife would drive all over the country and settle claims for insurance companies after a big, natural catastrophe. Do you guys do like chase after those guys and try to get to those clients beforehand? How does it work in those natural disasters?
Correct. So we handle, like when the freeze claims happened in Texas last year. Was it last year? 2 years ago, I think, when the freeze happened. We did Florida right now. So when there's hurricanes, we help clients because we're licensed in 16 states.
Okay.
So we can go to different states and help people. We don't chase per se those cat adjusters. They're called cat adjusters. They're basically what I was telling you I did for Hurricane Harvey. Is where you go to one place during a storm, the insurance company sends you 50 assignments, you go and you knock them out as quickly as possible, because the quicker you knock them out, the quicker you get paid. And whether you write them for $1 or $1,000 or 10,000, there's a little difference. So you just want to write them as quickly as possible and get paid. So those couples, we meet them all the time. One wife or husband will sit in the car, write the estimate, then the other spouse will go in the house and take pictures, and the quicker they get it, the quicker they get paid. They do 6 of those.
It sounds like you've met my clients.
Yeah, I know how it works. I mean, props to them. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You mentioned 16 states. So the adjuster has to be licensed in the state that you're the
yes, sir.
Located. Okay. So where are you primarily located?
So we're from California. We have pretty much all of Midwest, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Pretty much where our clients have expanded, because majority of our clients are landlords, are investors.
Okay.
That's where we've went. So we've just reciprocated our license and we've spread our offices to where our clients are. And that's kind of the states that we have majority of our claims.
Okay. All right. Now, what about down in the Southeast, like Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, any of those places?
So we are licensed in Florida, Georgia, not, but Georgia, we're actually planning to be licensed this year.
What about North and South Carolina?
North Carolina, we have a license. So we do a lot of claims in North Carolina. We haven't had anything in South.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Well, we'll figure that out.
I mean, but we're ready to go in any state we can get our license. It's pretty quick.
All it is just more graft to the government in the form of a license fee.
That's it. It's all it is.
It's all it is. Okay, let me ask you this, and 2 more questions for you. First off, I had a friend of mine. They built a house, was fully framed, and the arson, it had to be arson, burnt down to the ground. And I drive by it all the time. It's been like 3 months. It's still sitting there. They got the fence around it, but it's still sitting there because the cops are dragging their feet with the arson. They're trying to, they won't let them tear it down. How does it work? When there's a criminal situation involved.
But so it depends, because it seems that every claim now is getting investigated. We have 3 or 4 claims that have literally are protected by police tape and are being investigated. For what reason? We have one in Pennsylvania. It's been almost a year, and nothing. They haven't accused the insured of anything. Nothing. And when you call the insurance, they say, "Well, we're investigating it." It's been a year.
Wow.
And it's getting like that every claim.
Really?
Yep. They're trying to basically find something or anything that could spark a quick investigation, an under oath, anything.
Okay, so do you think that has anything to do with the insurance companies like not wanting to pay the claim, obviously.
That's 100%. It's
100%.
part of the deal. It's delaying the process.
Yeah.
It's just like getting an engineer on the job. We have one in Florida where, they came out, they agreed to pay $200,000 in damages. 2 months go by, we say we need loss of rent. They're saying, well, we're going to send an engineer to determine what's flood damage, what's from flood and what's actually from us hurricane. I'm like, well, the flood damaged 4 inches of the basement, nothing. The hurricane damage knocked out half the windows, half the roof. I mean, that's why we're claiming loss of rent. How can we rent the house? But now they want to send an engineer that's going to take 2 months to come out, another month to get a report. So now we're like 5-6 months into the claim process, just delaying the claim.
Wow.
Every claim.
And there's nothing you can do about that.
Nope.
Nothing.
All we do, Charles, is just literally mark our files, and we prepare our files that if it goes south, then at least we can show it's bad faith and it's a bad case that an attorney can actually have a chance.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Not that we ever want to give a file to an attorney, because you want to, we work our own claims and we really want to work until then.
Yeah.
But some claims, there's nothing you can do.
And then of course I don't know what state that we're talking about, but in some states, if an insurance company starts playing that game, they get sued for treble damages and attorneys fees and court costs. So that's the part where you start bumping up. Then that's when you're going to get the claim paid, is because the insurance company does not want to pay treble damages. And they're not really favored in most courtrooms. So yeah, definitely. All right. Now let me ask you this final question. Now, obviously, a logical softball question for you would be, well, what's the first thing a person should do if they have an insurance claim? And of course, you're going to say, call me. All right. What's the first? No, I'm not stupid. What's the first thing that a person shouldn't do when they have an insurance claim?
That they shouldn't do?
Yeah.
Talking too much, saying too much to the insurance company. Everyone wants to just go on about their life story and tell them everything that's been going on for the last year. All the insurance company's doing is recording everything and marking the file.
Yeah.
Oh, they did this. They replaced the AC 3 months ago, and now they have a fire. Red flag.
Yeah.
People, and it's not when I talk to the insurance companies, there's a specific way we speak to them, right? And it's kind of to dumb it down. They ask questions. If you don't know the answer, we don't know. They want to ask all these questions, and people want to answer. Even if they don't know the right answer, they're going to tell them something, make up a story, and all that does is just accumulates, red flag. Now we got engineers, now we got under oath, now we got attorneys.
Yeah.
So the less you say, the better.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh. I can't believe what a great question I just asked, because I love the answer you just gave. I did not see that coming, but that's great advice. A lot of times, when you get on the phone with an adjuster or an insurance adjuster, like, okay, this call is being recorded. Like everything gets recorded. It's not done for anyone's benefit but theirs. It's always going to be used against you. It's like you're speaking to a law enforcement officer. I mean, you always have the right to remain silent. Don't say anything. It's their job to prove otherwise. Let Andy prove why they're wrong.
Exactly. And our clients know, we prep them, say, hey, if they call you, you do not talk to them. You tell them you have a public adjuster and they should be calling us. But insurance companies are very slick, and we tell our clients, as soon as we're hired and we send them a contract, don't be surprised if you get a call. Oh, you hired a public adjuster. Oh, you don't need one. Or we'll get another guy out there to help you. I mean, they'll say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always tell my clients, easy things, just shut the F up. Don't say anything. Just shut up. Don't say anything. If they ask you something or they email you, you send it to us. You call one of our PAs, and you tell them exactly what they told you.
Right.
You do not give them any answer.
Yeah. And that's what he will say, folks, to you, because Andy doesn't swear. He will say, shut the F up.
No, I don't swear. I just said that's why I said shut the F up.
Oh my gosh, Andy. Okay, everybody, here comes the marketing part of our podcast. Andy, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can call me directly. I'll leave my cell phone for some of your clients if they want to call or text me. My direct line is area code 708-655-4186. So 708-655-4186. They can email us at info@allcityadjusting.com, or they can Google All City Adjusting, go on our website. all the other podcasts, every other article we've been featured on. I mean, there's so much stuff about us, great stuff. So, but yeah, my cell phone is the easiest way if a client wants to get a hold of me.
Folks, if you want to speak to him directly, his cell phone again is 708-655-4186. And also, I don't know, Andy, you're married, because I think some of the women on the call is going to be calling you directly.
I am married, so maybe don't call after 6 p.m.
Fine. Yeah, don't call him at night. Don't call him at night, ladies. His wife gets very suspicious. And the email is info@allcityadjusting.com. And where are you located?
Yeah, so our main office is Crown Point, Indiana.
Oh, Crown Point, Indiana. Okay.
So we're about 50 minutes from Chicago.
Okay. All right. Perfect, man. Right in the that's a pretty heavy insurance area. There are always a lot of insurance companies out there in that neck of the woods.
We got Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau's,
yeah, Farm Bureau.
Indiana Farm Bureau's big out here that we deal with. And
I'll tell you, Andy, one of the things, my goal for this year is I'm going to set up an insurance captive for multifamily owners. And I'm going to put right into the policy that you're not allowed to use All City Adjusting as a public adjuster, or we won't pay the claim. I'll bake it right into the contract. So
there you go.
Yep. But I know how insurance works. I know, and it's like multifamily. I'll never buy a property from Marcus and Millichap, but I only use Marcus and Millichap to sell my properties because they get top dollar. But they also, so why would I ever buy from them? They always get top dollar. On the insurance side, it's such a racket. I would never try to go up against an insurance company on my own. I'm too smart for that. I hire a guy like Andy. And folks, if you have an insurance claim, even for your house, if you're not using a public adjuster, you're foolish. You're allowing the insurance company to take advantage of you. It's like you wouldn't walk into a police station accused of a crime without a lawyer present. It's the same thing with the public adjuster, folks. Andy provides a phenomenal service, and he doesn't cost you anything. If he doesn't make the money back, it doesn't cost you anything. And believe me, every time I've used a public adjuster, I've always done incredibly well. So, Andy, good to meet you. Good to have you on my podcast. You learn Polish. You learned a little bit of Polish here today, and also you got a good joke. You got a good trade joke. You can use it your next trade.
That is my next joke.
Yes, exactly. So, all right, buddy. It's good to meet you, and we'll keep you in touch.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. Good to see you.